If there were a theme I had to select for Friday's episode, it would just be one of those situations where you think you finally moved on in life, only for a person from your past to reappear and disrupt your peace. That could be said about Eva and Leslie, Martin and Kenneth, and mainly Chelsea and Allison. So, before jumping into the episode, 10 out of 10. I enjoyed it. Good episode. Great way to close out the week. And just a friendly reminder, there is no episode dropping Monday through Friday. Next week, I believe they're playing reruns. But yeah, next week the show is on break due to the upcoming holiday, 4th of July. Now, if you have been a person who hasn't watched the show, this is the perfect time to catch up. You have a full week to binge it on. Well, heck, you got more than a week because you got this weekend, you got all next week, and then it comes back July 7th. Paramount Plus, go binge the show because the promo for the next week of episodes looks really, really good. Now we're over at not Jokey's, Joey's Casino Hall, and Martin shows up, and Bill is rightfully pissed off, like, what are you doing here? Look, I have to deal with this myself. And look, just go and let me do my job. They keep going back and forth, and Martin, just refuses to leave. But eventually, he leaves, and Joey shows up looking concerned. And Joey actually appreciates Bill's skills and what he has to offer. So, it's like, hey, why not be a partner with me? And Bill's like, oh, no, I'm good where I am. Which they would make an interesting duo. Their resources, Bill's connections and whatnot. But Bill ends up leaving, and that's when Randy shows up. Man, we haven't seen Randy in Lord knows how long. It feels like so much has been done while he hasn't been there. But then again, his role isn't as it isn't as vital due to the fact by this point Doug is exactly where Joey wanted him. He's partnered up with his wife. So, yeah. And that's not to say Randy is completely useless because guess what? He's here now. But, yeah, it just explains like, oh, okay, that's why he hasn't been around in quite some time. Plus, I believe he was filming something else, too. So, congrats to him. Now, in any case, Joey asks if he's ready, but he senses, hesitation. And Randy's like, oh, no, I know what I need to do. It's all good. So we go over to the diner, and Leslie is thinking about kicking, the scene where she kicked her daughter out the apartment. Eva actually shows up for dinner, and she's shocked that she accepted the invite. And she pretty much pulls a Haley, just taken aback by how she's been outcasted by society, and she's lonely. What? Like you didn't expect it? Like what did you expect would happen after you pulled the stunt you did? The lies that got exposed? Really? You're lonely. Okay. So she asked an interesting question of her daughter, like, have you ever thought about who I was before I met your father? And she's like, well, I don't think you were a normal person. Ooh, ouch. Okay. Fair play, daughter. Fair play. And she's like, I was smart and ambitious just like you. And I wanted something in Ted. And it hurt me that he wasn't the salvation I thought he was going to be. And that pretty much turned me into who I am now. And I feel like that's a bit of a stretch here, but that's just my opinion. And, well, you aren't yourself right now. And wonders, like, who she is without some 30-year-old drama in your life. Who are you, Leslie? And do you remember how to be my mom? And they talk about, their good times together, back in the day. They watched different street performers and rated them on their made up scale that they had. And from there, it is just the emotional manipulation tactic as far as I'm concerned. So they have some, laughs back and forth, and Eva starts to cry, and they discuss how Alan was sort of slow but there, which was important for her growing up. And I was always there for you. Guilt tripping. That's all she's doing. So as they hold hands, Jacob and Kat arrive at the diner, And Kat's like, interesting, because you know Kat, as soon as she has just the one breadcrumb of evidence against Eva, oh, she's going to hold on to it. So they sit down, and it's funny because she's acting like she's some sort of like junior detective. And even though he likes working with her, you can jeopardize the case. And Kat likes to see her cousin-in-law using his skills and timing to help out the Duprees. And, from there, Kat is begging him to find a new lead. So he does mention how he found a security expert. It's probably not much of anything, but hey, he did find a scratch on the helmet. And if they can match it to the footage, they might be onto something. But I don't know. I don't know. It's just one of those things where, well, I will admit, Jacob is saying that it might not be much, but it is something. So they're going to reanalyze the video, and maybe it will place Leslie at the scene of the crime. Kat does ask an interesting question, like, but how did the FBI not see that? And he's like, well, the thing is, the scratch is on the opposite side of the helmet. So little things like that do add to the case. So from there, Leslie does tell her daughter she's glad I did some things right by you, and how's your new job? Eva, is overwhelmed, but due to the fact that Kat is helping me. So Leslie is surprised as well that she's actually helping her sister understand the responsibilities of the job. So from there, it was Kat's job before she left to do designing for fashion. So Leslie dries her own tears, and she cautions her to be careful because that's Kat. And Eva's like, well, I already am careful, don't worry. She even goes so far as to having saying she has regrets with Ted and Eva, but you mean the world to her. No, don't trust her, Eva. Don't do it. She says that, hey, well, I had a nice time, and they're wondering what Kat's thinking about seeing them eating together. But it's funny because Kat looks over and says, you're cooked. Oh, snap. But then from there, Kat, thinks about how that helmet scratch might not be enough as Leslie and Eva leave the diner. So it's just one of those things where, yet again, Kat is, just still like, this heifer right here. I show you kindness, and here you are spitting in my face. All right, I got you. Now, we get to the bulk of the episode where Chelsea's at Uptown and mentioning that Madison is a no-show, and Kat offers to check up on her and complains that Eva left work early. Like, where's the dedication? So she, disconnects the phone. And well, actually, they were texting. My bad. And from there, Chelsea's about to get up and leave because Madison was a no-show, but she rushes in saying, like, look, hey, I'm sorry I'm late. I was actually dressed up for our date, but, a kid and vomit, it's a whole thing, and everything got ruined, including my phone. That's why I didn't contact you. But Chelsea actually has a rose and assures her that she looks cute in her scrubs, which she does, by the way. And they talk about, just fashion in general, and maybe perhaps I can get you a new bag from my fashion line. So she admits that she tends to leapfrog in terms of intimacy. And as a result, it's like she usually gets dumped. So it's not until after a situation gets fast-tracked and she gets dumped does she realize, oh, I gave it up a bit too soon. But Chelsea kind of, takes a moment to reassure her everything is cool. And after fixing her phone, Madison suggests that, oh, well, I just told you about my leapfrog tendencies, but are you a bit of a leaper yourself? And Chelsea, I don't know. She says that she's never been in this situation, but she wants to treat her to a 5-star restaurant. And Madison asks, like, well, how does your father feel about us? And Chelsea doesn't know. And I'm not like my dad. And I don't know. Maybe he sees my mom in me, that kind of thing. But I don't know. Maybe it's because obviously Bill has a stronger connection with Naomi since they're in the same line of business. And of course, if Bill sees Chelsea as Danny, maybe she feels less than. I don't know. That's probably what's going on here. But Madison and Chelsea are like, oh, well, you're smart and capable. And as they're holding hands, they talk about how, how Chelsea started modeling at a very young age. And it's a lot of work, and I was really serious about it. And it's interesting because Madison assumed she was, a party girl, and that made her uncertain about getting close to her, but that's obviously not the case. So she threw caution to the wind, and that's how they hooked up. So she just wants to get to know more about Chelsea. And look, even though I still might not trust her intentions, at least, these two, even though they move really fast, they are trying to get to know each other, which is interesting because it's an interesting flip from the Tomas and Kat dynamic where Tomas wanted sex, Kat said no, Kat wants sex, Tomas said no, and they really don't know that much about each other, even though this much time has passed, because Kat is way too involved with trying to bust Leslie. So Chelsea admits that, okay, getting to know each other is going to be great, and ask me anything you want. So as they're doing this, Allison is actually across the room lifting her glass to Chelsea, and Madison is like, wait, who's that? And oh yeah, I knew her, but it didn't go anywhere. And it's like, oh wow, yeah, that's right, I think you did mention something about that. So Allison comes up and introduces herself, apologizing for interrupting, but she wants to speak to Chelsea alone. And she's like, no, this is a bad time. But Madison's like, oh no, I got an early morning, I have to leave. So they kiss, and Madison, leaves. But then from there, Allison's like, wow, okay, she's the full package. Is she yours? And she's like, wait, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's none of your business. I missed you, and I'm sorry if I hurt you. Again, you weren't in a relationship. Like, what's going on with this? I don't know who I don't trust more, Allison or Madison. Oh wait, Chelsea must have a thing for people who have names that end in "son." Look at that. All right, so Chelsea forgives her, and Allison admits that her husband was jealous, which is why she opted to drop Chelsea. And basically, her husband gave her an ultimatum, and he is bitter and angry about it. And she admits she's scared of her husband. So Chelsea's like, well, my brother-in-law is a detective. Maybe he can file a complaint, but Allison's not ready to escalate things to that level. So the waiter comes over and takes their order, but Madison actually comes back, spots them, and then leaves. And it's like, wow, so yikes. But then again, I don't know if she leaves. I know she spots them, and it's just like when Kat saw Tomas and Eva holding hands. So this isn't good. I mean, we could have a situation where Madison displays her territorial nature. Yikes. Now, over at the country club, Martin arrives and sees Kenneth finishing up his shift, and Diego, who, man, the last time we saw him, I believe, was when he was on that date with Pamela to make Vanessa jealous. So Diego's like, hey man, you want to go for a workout? And he actually then shows up at the poker room, because remember, Martin confronts him and says like, hey, if you want to get this money, then you got to go to the casino. So Kenneth arrives, and Bill tells him that they've met before, and it's like, oh, well, you can just call me the fixer. And I'm also your worst nightmare. And what you need now is a civics lesson. And Kenneth's like, wait, what are you talking about? The Dupree family is powerful. And you can either leave now or suffer the consequences. And from there, he gets a text and then smiles, and he's like, okay, you got 2 days to leave town. Or what? You're going to kill me? Oh, no, that's not on me. And from there, he just drops a bag on the table and leaves. So outside, Bill calls Martin and says he'll meet him at the club. So after that, Kenneth, is looking inside the bag, counts the money, and then that's when Randy shows up, closes the door, and then takes out a gun. And Kenneth is on his knees with his hands up, which honestly, hey, after all the bigoted crap he's been talking to Martin, a black man with a gun with this white man on the ground, got your ass. So over at the club, Martin sits with Bill and wonders like, okay, so what's going to happen now? And what a way to close out the episode. So folks, this is some good stuff. Fantastic way to end the week. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll catch you in the next one.